Hi everyone, it's Mike from Battlefield Accessories here. Just going to give you a quick tutorial on how to construct our medieval stone church. As you can see, it's a reasonably large model designed for 28mm. It has a detachable roof, right, both on the main body and the chapel part. I've also constructed mine so as I haven't actually glued the tower in, so that also comes off so as you can position figures inside, but you might decide on your model that you might want to secure that. It's a reasonably straightforward kit to put together, and if you watch the rest of this video, you'll see me put one together. Thanks. Okay, so when you get your kit, you have a number of pieces. I'll just quickly run through each of them. You have a baseboard like that, which the main building's going to be built up on. Two end pieces like this, which are the main ends for the chapel. This piece here is the bit that goes at the far end, so if you like, you have the tower down here, you then have this part here with the arch door, and the bit which has all this scroll work and stuff goes as the lead into the smaller building at the end. You also have two large wall sections. Now these wall sections are actually interchangeable, so they mirror images of each other, so it doesn't really matter which way they go. You then have three pieces for the end section here. Again, they're pretty self-explanatory. They go in like this, and I'll show you that in a bit more detail in a minute. You then have the tower. Now the tower consists of the main section, which has the arch for the doorway, right, which if I look at here, it's going to sit straight in like that way, so people are going to go in through there, then through the arch into the main body. You've then got two identical side pieces, right, and then this little piece which sits in the back, basically it sits in the reverse of this main tower section, so it's going to sit in there like that. And then you also have an upper story deck. Now the upper story deck actually interlocks into the actual top of the tower, and I'll show you that in a minute. You've then got two roof sections. So these pieces here make up the roof for the end part of the church. Then you have these pieces here which make up the larger roof section. So you have two of these. Again, they're interchangeable. You have two shorter, and when I say short, I mean short in this way here. So two shorter roof sections, right, two slightly longer roof sections, and then two pieces of stonework. Also, for both of the roof sections, there are two lengths of card, and these are designed to cover the tongue and groove joints at the top. Now they're optional, but I've put them on mine, they look quite good. The final pieces that you have are these four pieces like this, and they're an internal skin for the top of the turret, the tower turret, which again I'll show you once we get into the main construction. Okay, so to build, we'll start with the tower. So I'm going to start with the front piece with the doorway in it and the light on its back. I'm going to take the top deck, which looks like this. Now, of course, this is the bit that faces towards the top. This has actually got a long and a short side on it. Now, only the long side will fit in. So you basically lock that in. Now, if I'm gluing this, I'm not going to bother to glue today. If you want to some information about gluing one of these models together, I suggest you watch the Samurai Castle construction video. It's got lots of tips about gluing MDF models together. This, I'm just going to show you how it goes together. So I'm going to take this, long side locks into those two grooves here, so you can see them just there. So I'm going to lock that in. I'm going to take one of these wall sections. Now with the wall sections, you'll notice that one side has got grooves all the way down it. The other side doesn't have grooves, just at the top. This is the side that faces away from the doorway. So this piece here is going to sit in this side here. So what I'm going to do is just basically lock it in. Right. Again, just make sure that it's nice and snug. Perfect. Then I'm going to do the same for the other side. Now, of course, again, I'd be gluing this normally. So you can see that I've now got an open turret. I'm going to take this final piece. I'm just going to slot that in on top. Done. Now, if you remember at the start, I talked about how you have these four wall sections. What I'm going to do is take those at this point, and I'm basically going to glue them in so as they go like that, and then like this, and like this. Now, there's a slight difference to there's basically 2 long pieces which go the whole way across, and then 2 short pieces which lock in front of those. There is a slight difference from the right to left, so make sure you check that they're lining up properly. Basically what will happen is they'll overlap the crenellations slightly if they're round the wrong way. So you just need to, before you glue them in place, make sure you've got the right ones in the right spot. So that's the tower. Right, so the main body of the church, I'm taking my one with my arch, and it's going to go at the end where the tower goes. Now, just so as you can see this, the end where the tower goes is a little bit narrower than the end where the chapel part goes. So just make sure you're putting this together, you get it around the right way. The reason I said put the tower together first is I can now take the tower, and I can put that in place to make sure, okay, this is the tower end, therefore this piece here needs to go in up against the tower. So again, I would normally glue this. I'm going to lock that in place, take my long side, lock that in place, take my other side, lock that in place. Now again, if you're watching the samurai video, you'll see that I use a lot of masking tape, so I'd mask around these corners and glue them. Right, and then finally, this piece in. So this piece, and I'm using the brickwork on the outside, so I've turned it round so it's facing like that, and putting that in place at the far end. Of course, once we have a bit of glue on that, that'll be all held perfectly together. It's not too bad at the moment. I'm going to leave it like that. It may actually fall apart, but you realise that when you're doing yours, you're going to use some masking tape and some glue so it won't fall apart. Final piece is the end. Now again, this is similar to the tower, that it's got one side which has got teeth in it, right, and the other side which doesn't have any teeth in it. I'm going to take them with the teeth, basically line them up, and do the same on the other side. Right. Now again, a little bit of glue, once it's stuck, a little bit of glue running down these 2 edges here, just to glue that to the main body of the church will actually be useful too. Okay, so there it is. Okay, so the final bit of construction is the roofs. So for the chapel roof, you've got these 2 small roof sections and these 2 pieces like this. The trick with these is the teeth interlock, but they're kind of designed so as the top ridge of both of these teeth is making the top ridge, so that there's a little bit of finessing in terms of getting them in there. Don't want to be hard in at right angles. They're going to be just a little bit looser than that. So the way I'm going to start with this is I'm going to take one of these pieces, push them roughly together, and then basically slide them onto the teeth that are provided there. Right, and you can see there's a little bit of give there. If I look at it from the other side, you can see that I've got a little bit of play there. And then finally take the other piece and slide that in from the end. Right, get the whole thing clamped down and let that dry, or glue it and let it dry. Then I'm going to take, once that's completed, I'm going to take my 2 ridge pieces, right, and I'm going to glue them over the top like that. Okay. Here's the completed version. You can see the ridge caps over the top, and you can see where I've glued it on the inside. The design of this is that these pieces here actually slide down these pieces here, sorry, slide down inside the brick skin of the actual building. Okay, so the final bit of the model is the large section roof. Now when it's completed, it's going to look like this. There are a few tricks with getting this one to go together properly, and I'll try and talk you through those here. When you're looking at the roofs, you've got this section here and this section here, and you can see there's a slight size difference. Also, the teeth on the piece that I'm interested in at the moment are slightly longer. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to take that piece and take the brickwork and slot the 2 in on top of each other. Right, now that's going together really nicely. On some of the cuts, they sometimes are a little bit stiffer, so you just need to force them in. What I'm now going to do is take that, while it's kind of loosely locked together, I'm going to slide it into place. Right, and you see that locking down. Okay, then I'm going to repeat the same thing at the other end. There is a little bit of finessing because again these joints, because they're not at right angles, right, there's a little bit of play in them. Right, so and just while I've got that there, what I'd probably do is run a piece of masking tape around the end of it to hold it in place, and then go and do the other end of that. Okay, so I've grabbed my masking tape. Just going to run that around. That's just going to hold that in place because as I'm fiddling with the other end, it might come loose, and there's nothing worse than getting it in place and then having to reposition it. I can hear that creaking a bit as they kind of lock themselves down into place, just to stop it coming loose. I'm going to do that. So you can see there's one side, rinse and repeat for the other side. Once you've got the other side clamped in, you'll see, he said bravely, that this goes in much quicker. There we go. Again, a little bit of masking tape, never kills anybody. My suggestion is even once you've glued these, a bit of masking tape just to hold them in place is useful. Right, and then finally the top roof section. So I'm going to take the two longer ones. Again, I'm going to do the whole lock them together first. Now, it'll be difficult for you to see on the video, but this one hasn't seated down quite 100%. You can see through the end there. Right, so there's a little bit of a gap. To fix that, I'm just going to push it gently from underneath, right, until the thing's locked down properly together. Beautiful. And there we have it. And then, of course, a final thing I'm going to do is take my two pieces of card, glue them across the top, and that's going to completely cover that join that I had there. Okay, so thanks for watching the video. If you're interested in purchasing one of these, then just send an email to mike.parker@tpg.com.au. See ya.